one who made Krovik the Undying retire. Yes, that Krovik. The 8-armed Vexlati death dealer, who'd hunted across 17 star systems and never, not once, failed to bring back his mark. The creature, who wore a necklace of crystallized prey essence, and had 4 government bounties on his head just for existing too efficiently, gone. Retired. Running a petting zoo on some backwater moon. I'm getting ahead of myself. My name is Thulnox, and I'm what you'd call a freelance information broker, which is a polite way of saying I sell secrets to whoever pays the most credits. It's a living, all right. Don't judge me. 3 years ago, I got contracted to track down Krovik, because some crime lord wanted to hire him for a job. Big money. The kind that makes you ignore your survival instincts. So there I was, following leads across half the outer rim, expecting to find Krovik in some war-torn hellscape, probably wearing fresh kills like a fashion statement. Instead, my ship's navigation system kept insisting his last known coordinates pointed to a planet called Earth. Specifically, somewhere called Montana. Even the name sounds like it's trying too hard. I landed my shuttle in what the locals called a field, which is apparently just dirt with plants that nobody's using. Very efficient, these humans. The air smelled weird, all organic and unfiltered, and the gravity was just uncomfortable enough to make me cranky. Perfect, following Krovik's energy signature, because yes, that murderous legend was definitely here. I walked for approximately 12 minutes before I saw it. A wooden sign. Hand-painted. It read, Galactic Haven Petting Zoo and Sanctuary. All species welcome. No hunting. No hunting. I stood there for a solid minute, wondering if I'd accidentally inhaled some kind of hallucinogenic spore. But no, the signature was coming from behind that fence. Krovik was here. At a petting zoo, the gate creaked when I pushed it open, and immediately I was surrounded by earth animals. Small, fluffy things that made high-pitched noises. Larger things with horns that stared at me with unsettling indifference. One creature, covered entirely in wool, tried to eat my datapad. Hey. Back off, you textile nightmare. I yanked my equipment away from the sheep. The sheep did not care. The sheep had no respect for personal property. You're gonna want to watch Shirley. She's got a thing for technology. I spun around, 3 of my hand appendages instinctively going for my defense tools, and there he was. Krovik. The Undying. The apex hunter of the Vexlati hunting clans. Wearing overalls. Denim overalls. Holding a bucket of what I could only assume was food pellets. Krovik. My voice came out higher than I intended. Professional dignity, immediately gone. Just Krov now, he said, and I noticed his hunting scars had faded to barely visible lines. His eyes, once a predatory yellow, looked almost calm. Lost stoic when I moved here. Seemed pretentious. You're feeding sheep. It wasn't a question. It was a statement of pure disbelief. Alpacas, actually. That one's Shirley. Next to her is Barbara. The big guy with the attitude is Dennis. He pointed to each animal like they were old friends. Like he hadn't spent 40 years hunting sentient beings across the galaxy. What happened to you? I managed to ask, still processing the scene. Krov smiled. Actually smiled. I met a human. Come on, I'll introduce you. We walked past more enclosures. I saw creatures I recognized from various planets, all living together peacefully. A Thulnox dust hog napping next to an earth pig. A juvenile kelterbeast, whose species was literally bred for arena combat, playing with a dog. An actual dog, those small carnivores that humans domesticated thousands of years ago, and somehow turned into walking friendship machines. This is madness, I muttered. Nah, Krov replied cheerfully. This is retirement. We approached a barn, and that's when I heard the voice. Female. Human. Singing something about taking roads less traveled. Hey, Marla. Krov called out. Got a visitor. The singing stopped, and a human emerged from the barn. She was covered in dirt, wearing boots that had seen better decades, and her hair was tied back in a messy knot. She looked at me with eyes that were simultaneously welcoming and capable of calculating my exact weaknesses. Well, hello there. Marla said, wiping her hands on her pants. Don't see many off-worlders here. You here for the tour? I'm here because... I gestured vaguely at Krov, then at the entire farm, then at reality itself. What happened? How did this happen? Marla laughed. It was a warm sound, completely free of malice, which somehow made it more terrifying. Oh, you mean why is the galaxy's most feared hunter now running a petting zoo? That's a fun story. It's really not, Krov interjected, but he was grinning. Hush, you love telling this part. Marla swatted his arm. One of his arms. He had 8. She swatted one like it was nothing. So, picture this. 5 years ago, Krov here comes to Earth, tracking some fugitive who stole artifacts from a collector's guild. Standard job, right? Very standard, Krov confirmed. The fugitive hides in the Montana wilderness, thinking they're safe because humans are supposedly primitive. Wrong. I'm out tracking elk because my freezer needs filling, and I stumble onto their hideout. I blinked all 3 of my eye sets. You stumbled onto a collector's guild fugitive. Yeah, just bad luck for them. Good luck for me, though, because that's when tall, scary, and 8-armed here shows up. She jerked her thumb at Krov. He's got all his fancy weapons, his intimidating presence, the whole package. Very impressive. Thank you, Krov said modestly. Except, Marla continued, her grin widening, I'd been tracking in these mountains for 30 years. I knew every trail, every hiding spot, every cave system. And this fugitive. They were using trails so obvious that even the local bears knew about them. What did you do? I asked, genuinely curious now. I told him where the fugitive was hiding, exactly how to approach without being detected, and mentioned the 3 escape routes they'd probably try to use. Marla shrugged like this was normal. Figured I'd help out. Community service and all that. Krov took over the story. She tracked a trained covert operative in terrain she'd never encountered before, predicted their behavior with perfect accuracy, and did it all while apparently on a casual hunting trip. Then she offered me coffee. You looked like you needed coffee, Marla said defensively. I was the Galaxy's apex predator. And you were cranky. Don't tell me you weren't cranky. They bickered like an old married couple. The Galaxy's most dangerous hunter and a human tracker, arguing about coffee. Wait, I held up my appendages. So you helped him catch his target, and then what? He just decided to retire. Not immediately, Krov admitted. But she asked questions. About hunting. About the thrill. About why I did it. And? I prompted. And I told her it was about the challenge, Krov said, sitting down on a hay bale that creaked under his weight. The pursuit. The satisfaction of outsmarting prey that thought they were uncatchable. Reading the signs. Understanding behavior patterns. Anticipating movements. Marla sat down next to him, and a small earth cat immediately appeared from nowhere and jumped onto her lap. Where it came from, I have no idea. Cats are apparently magic. So I said, sounds like you'd enjoy tracking deer. I waited. There had to be more to this story. That's it. Tracking deer. You ever tracked a whitetail buck during rutting season in deep snow? Marla asked me, scratching the cat behind its ears. The cat purred like a tiny engine. They're smart, cautious, and they know their territory better than you ever will. They can hear you from half a mile away. Smell you from farther. And they've got escape routes planned before you even know they're there. Krov's eyes, I swear, actually lit up. She took me hunting the next season. No weapons. Just tracking. Learning to read sign. Understanding the animal. And Thulnox, I'm not exaggerating when I say it was the most challenging hunt of my entire career. It was a deer, I said flatly. It was a very clever deer, Krov corrected. Took me 3 weeks to even get close. And when I finally did, when I had him in my sights, Marla asked me what I was going to do. I said, you gonna kill it, or you gonna appreciate that you found it? Marla's voice was softer now. Because that's what tracking really is. It's not about the kill. It's about the connection. Understanding another living thing so completely that you can think like them, move like them, predict them. I felt something shift in my understanding of reality. So you just stopped hunting sentients? Well, I finished my contracts, Krov said reasonably. I'm not a barbarian. But yeah, after that season, I came back here. Started helping Marla with her rescue operation. Rescue operation. This day kept getting stranger. Marla stood up, the cat flowing off her lap like liquid. Come on, I'll show you. We walked to another section of the property, and I saw creatures I recognized from illegal fighting rings, black market exotic pet trades, and failed laboratory experiments. A Quellan spike wolf with a prosthetic leg. A Teruvian singing bird whose wings had been clipped, but were growing back. 3 baby Korthaks whose mother had been killed by poachers. We taken the ones nobody else wants, Marla explained. The injured. The traumatized. The ones that can't go back to the wild. Krov's contacts across the galaxy send us cases. We rehabilitate them, give them good lives. And the petting zoo? I asked. That's just the earth animals, Krov said, and he was using that stupid happy voice again. Local kids come visit. Learn about different species. Turns out education is way more satisfying than hunting. A small human child ran past us, chasing what appeared to be a chicken. Mr. Krov. Mr. Krov. Clementine laid another egg. That's great, Tommy. Make sure you tell your mom. Krov waved at the kid with 2 of his arms. I stared. You're playing farmer. I'm running a multi-species sanctuary that operates across 17 star systems, provides rehabilitation services for exotic creatures, and educates the next generation about xenobiology, Krov corrected. But sure, farmer works too. Marla punched him lightly in the arm. One of them. Again. Don't be modest. Tell them about the trafficking ring you helped bust. Oh, that was nothing. He used his old hunting skills to track down a major exotic animal trafficking operation, Marla told me proudly. Freed about 200 creatures. Got the kingpin arrested. All while technically retired. Couldn't help myself, Krov admitted. Old habits die hard. But now instead of hunting for credits, I hunt to protect. Way better use of my skills. I sat down on a fence post because my legs, both of them, needed a break from this absurdity. Let me get this straight. You, Krovik the Undying, the hunter that made crime lords nervous, gave up everything because a human taught you that tracking animals was satisfying. Sounds ridiculous when you put it that way, Krov mused. It is ridiculous. Yeah, but I'm happy, he said simply. Happier than I ever was hunting sentients. Marla taught me that the challenge isn't in the kill, it's in the understanding. And you know what? She was right. Plus, the benefits are better. Healthcare, regular meals, no one's trying to assassinate me. Yet, Marla added cheerfully. Season's still young. Very funny. I watched them work together for the rest of the afternoon. Marla teaching Krov how to administer medicine to a sick Quellan. Krov using his multiple arms to simultaneously feed 6 different species, while Marla checked their health records. A human and a Vexlati, working in perfect sync, saving creatures that most of the galaxy considered disposable. As the sun started setting, painting the Montana sky in colors I didn't have names for, Marla brought out something called lemonade. So, Thulnox. What brings you all the way out here? You came looking for the galaxy's apex hunter. But I'm guessing you found something else. Yeah, I admitted, sipping the strange sweet sour beverage. I was supposed to recruit him for a job. High-profile target. Huge payday. Not interested, Krov said immediately. I can tell, I replied. But now I'm curious. What do I tell my client? Tell them Krovik's dead, Krov suggested. Tell them he retired. Tell them whatever you want. I'm not going back. Marla looked at me thoughtfully. Or you could tell them that the galaxy's best hunter found something better than hunting. That might actually mean something to somebody. I thought about that. About the trafficking ring Krov had busted. About the creatures here getting second chances. About a human tracker who saw potential where everyone else saw a killing machine. You know what? I pulled out my communicator. I'm going to tell my client that Krovik died. Heart attack. Very sudden. Very tragic. I don't have a heart, Krov pointed out. Vexlati have a distributed circulatory system. They don't know that. Most people don't know anything about Vexlati anatomy. It's fine. Marla raised her glass of lemonade. To new beginnings and convincing lies. To retirement, Krov added. To the weirdest day of my entire life, I finished. We clinked our glasses together, and somewhere in the barn, something made a noise that sounded like a question. Marla stood up immediately. That's Gertrude. She's close to laying her eggs. Krov, grab the warming lamps. On it, he said, moving with the same deadly efficiency he'd once used for hunting, but now directed at helping a pregnant alien lizard bird feel comfortable. I stayed for 3 more days. Not because I had to, but because I wanted to. I helped feed the animals, which was harder than it looked. I learned that Dennis the alpaca was, in fact, a complete jerk. I watched Krov teach a class of human children about quell and spike wolves, and saw those kids look at an alien predator with wonder instead of fear. On my last day, Marla walked me back to my shuttle. You gonna tell anyone the truth? About what? About Krov. About this place. I thought about it. Maybe some people need to know that the scariest hunter in the galaxy found peace on a farm in Montana. Maybe that story is worth more than keeping secrets. Or maybe, Marla said with a knowing smile, some people need to figure it out themselves. That being the best at something doesn't mean you have to keep doing it. That you can always choose something different. Humans are weird, I told her. Yeah, we are. But we're also pretty good at showing people that there's more than one way to live. Even apex predators. I took off, leaving Earth's atmosphere behind, and I never did tell my client what really happened. I told them Krovik was dead, collected my fee, and moved on. But sometimes, when I'm between jobs, I check the Galactic news feeds. Every few months, there's a story. Another trafficking ring busted. Another rescue operation successful. And if you know what to look for, if you recognize the signature tracking methods, you can see Krov's work all over it. The galaxy's apex hunter didn't retire. He just found better prey. And it turns out, the most dangerous human skill isn't strength, or technology, or military might. It's the ability to make you want to be better than you are. I hear Dennis is still a jerk, though. Some things never change. Agar Apko yeah Kahani Pa and A hi. To channel KO subscribe, Karinal bell icon dabana, Na Boulain.